Right, so the first one is a polyhedron. Polyhedron. Whose surfaces that we call faces are polygons. Okay, a polyhedron is a geometric surface whose faces are polygons. A polygon is just a shape, a closed figure, triangle, square, rectangle, hexagon, pentagon, any kind of shape like that. All right, and then a polyhedron, the next one, with two faces that are parallel and congruent polygons, whose other faces are parallelograms, is called a prism. Okay, the key to a prism is you have two congruent faces that are parallel, which we'll talk about the bases in just a minute too. The next one says the bases of a prism. This is what we were just talking about. Bases, of a prism are two parallel congruent faces. The bases of a prism are congruent parallel faces. All of the faces that are not bases. So let's say my triangular prism here. Okay, we're referring to a prism. My triangles are bases. They're congruent and they're parallel. But all of these other pieces, those are called lateral faces. Okay. Again, bases are the two congruent parallel parts. Every other piece is called a lateral face. The intersection of any two faces are called edges. Okay, so the intersection of any two faces is called an edge. Okay, that's the corner sharp part, the lines where they intersect. The intersection of two lateral faces, so where these two sides meet, this one right here, is called specifically a lateral edge. Okay, lots of definitions here, lots of words we have to know. Am I going to ask you the definitions? No, but I need you to know what they're talking about because we will have some true-false questions about them. Okay, intersection of two lateral faces is called a lateral edge. The intersection of a base, so one of the bases, and a lateral edge, so one of these at the top or the bottom, unless your picture's turned sideways, is what we call a base edge. So if it touches the base, it's a base edge. If it doesn't touch the base, it's a lateral edge. A segment that is perpendicular to the planes that contain the bases. Okay, so in this type of prism, any of my lateral edges, but also you could have it in the middle. Okay, sometimes it's in the middle. It's the distance between the two bases, the perpendicular distance, that is called the altitude. Which is also known as the height. Altitude and height are both the same thing. When we talk about the altitude of a plane, we're talking about how high it's flying. Okay, altitude and height are the same as long as they're perpendicular. Now, a prism with lateral edges that are altitude, so like in particular this one right here, is what we call a right prism. And then let's see how good my artwork is. Let's see. Oh, I'm no good at drawing these. Hold on. Do you see how that was slanted at my attempt of trying to draw it slanted? Okay, so imagine one of these with this top part like leaning over, like a tilted thing, okay? That's what we're talking about next. A prism whose lateral edges are not altitudes is called oblique. So it's basically a prism that's slanted like this, okay, if you see one. And I think I do not have a picture of one anywhere. Okay, I do not have a picture of one, but if you see a slanted prism, it is called oblique. O-B-L-I-Q-U-E. Okay, oblique prism. We don't deal with oblique prisms very often, but again, it's one that's not staying straight. It's going to be like slanted like this. Okay. And a geometric solid, very similar to a prism with a circular base, is called a cylinder. Okay, so that's kind of describing a majority of the parts of our prisms. A cylinder has a circular base, so it doesn't have any lateral edges or base edges. It has a circle, and then it has, think about a soup can. You know how if you peel a label off a soup can? Okay, that just ends up being a rectangle. That's what the lateral face of a cylinder is. So where's it good? So we're going to talk about lateral area. So let me explain what lateral area is. Lateral area is just the area of the lateral faces, not the bases, okay, just the lateral faces. So think again like a soup can. If you are, well, no, let's think about a rectangular cereal box. Okay, if you were to take and cut it long ways and fold it open, those would be the lateral faces, not the top and the bottom of a cereal box, but all of the sides. That's our lateral area. Okay. So a lateral area of a prism is the sum of all of the areas of the lateral faces. And here's the formula for lateral area. It says lateral area equals P times H, where P is the perimeter of the base, and H is the height of the prism. So perimeter of the base, whatever base that is, you add up all the sides, times the height of the prism. The height is the distance between the two bases. Okay. And then we have a different formula for cylinders. It's technically the same, but for cylinders, it is lateral area is equal to 2 times pi times radius times height. 2 pi RH, where R is the radius and H is the height. And then we'll have the surface area. The surface area is the area of all lateral faces, bases, everything together. All right, so the surface area of a prism is the sum of the area of all of the faces. I think I need to add the area in there, yeah. Sum of, put in area right here. Whoops, not right there. Sum of the area, add that in, I forgot that, of all of the faces, lateral and bases, okay. Surface area is the whole thing, like trying to cover the whole thing, wrapping a present. That's what surface area is. Lateral area is just around the sides. And then the formula for surface area of any prism is going to be LA, that's your lateral area, plus 2B, that's the area of the base, okay? Lateral area plus 2 of my base areas, because how many bases does a prism have? How many bases does a prism have? 2. And then for cylinders, it is very similar, okay? Surface area for cylinders is going to be your lateral area plus 2 pi r squared, where r is your radius, because pi r squared is the formula for area of a circle. So we are going to start taking a look at the back. I'm going to write your formulas here. Let's see. We do have syllabus. So let me write these here so we don't have to keep flipping back and forth. So for lateral area, it is perimeter times height. For a cylinder, lateral area is going to be 2 pi RH. And then surface area is going to be your lateral area plus 2 times your base area. And then for a cylinder, it is going to be your lateral area plus 2 pi R squared. Everybody ready? What shape does that look like? Okay, it's a prism, yes. Does everybody agree it's a prism? Is it a triangular prism? No, because my bases aren't triangles. I don't have any triangles anywhere. Is it a hexagonal prism? No. Is it a rectangular prism? Yes. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is identify the base. Now, a lot of the times your base is going to be on the top and the bottom, but sometimes they'll turn your picture sideways. So you just have to be very, very careful. I'll do this in a second. So I'm going to highlight the base so that it's easy for you to identify. Some people have a hard time looking at these 3D shapes. So you just have to be very, very careful here. So here is my base down at the bottom. Does everybody see this rectangle down at the bottom? Okay. So to find, we're finding both lateral area and surface area. So let's start with lateral area. That is the perimeter of my base times the height of my prism. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with my perimeter. It is a rectangle, which means opposite sides are congruent, okay? One side is 7, which means the side opposite it is also 7, right? And then 13, and then the other side would also be 13. So take your calculators, add 7, 13, 7, and 13 for me, finding the perimeter here. 7 plus 13 plus 7 plus 13. How much? 40. And then the height of my prism is going to be the distance between the two bases. Well, if my base is the yellow one and then the top one, what is the distance between those? What is the height? 9. The 9 is the distance between the two bases. Not the height of the bottom, but the height of the picture. So look, 7, 13, 9. So this is the height between the two bases. Okay, so let's plug that in. We've got our perimeter, which is 40. We've picked out our height, which is 9. So what would that lateral area be? 360. Okay, so that's 1. So far, so good. For surface area, I have the lateral area, which I need, but I also need the area of the base. So again, we're talking about a rectangle. I know we don't have our formula sheets in front of us because I somehow have a lot of them missing now. What is the area for a rectangle? Base times height, length times width, right? Right. So I'm going to do big B. That is the area of the base. What is the length of the rectangle at the bottom that I highlighted in yellow? The length? 13. Okay. What is the width of that yellow rectangle? 7. Okay. So for the area of the base, okay, just that yellow rectangle, I'm doing length times width. You can call it base times height, whatever that gives you. What'd you say, 91? Okay. So far, so good? Okay. All right, so for my surface area then, again, the formula for surface area is your lateral area plus 2 of your base areas. So we're going to plug in everything we have. We have our lateral area, which is 360, plus 2 times my base area, which we said was 91. Yes. It's a lot of formulas here. Okay, with your calculator, do 2 times 91 first. Okay. And then add 360 and 182. And that is my total surface area. Yes. Because you have to find the lateral area in order to find the surface area. So you have to do both. So if you don't have the lateral areas, you have to solve it with the surface area. You can't find surface area without lateral area. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next one. And then we're going to kind of skip around on these examples so we get a couple of different shapes. Is everybody okay if I erase number 1? All right, number 2. What shape is my base? A rectangle. So number 2 is very similar to what we just did in number 1. Okay, this one though, my base is going to be on the side. So here, they turned my picture upside down or sideways. Okay, that's my base. So it looks almost like this. It's kind of turned sideways with your bases. Okay, first of all, let's do 2 things at once. Let's go ahead and find everything we need for our formulas. So let's find the perimeter of the base and let's find the area of the base. Okay, big B is always the area of the base. So what I want you to do is find the perimeter of that highlighted rectangle first. Perimeter is the distance around it. Add up all 4 sides. The area is going to be your length times your width. It may help some of you if you take that rectangle that I have highlighted and draw it off to the side so you can just focus on that 2-dimensional shape. One of them is 16. What's the other side of that rectangle? 5. Okay. I meant, yeah, opposite of it would be 16, yes. Does everybody see I just drew that yellow highlighted rectangle off to the side and labeled the sides? Okay. That might make it easier for you to draw the base separately. So what would the perimeter be? 42. Okay. Add 5 and 16. Oh, that's area. Perimeter, you add all 4 sides. Yes, you can keep the area because you're going to need that as well. And then to find the area of that rectangle, I just do base times height, which in that area is 16 and 5, which gives me a base area of 16 times 5? 80. Does everybody understand what I did so far? I found the perimeter of the base and the area of the base. Okay. Now let's do lateral area. Again, lateral area is perimeter times height of the prism. What's the perimeter? What did we call it? 42. Then my height is not the 16 or the 5. It is the what other number in the shape? 10. And 42 times 10 is? 420. Okay. So that's the first thing. Then for our surface area, remember that is lateral area plus 2 times your base area, which we found everything we have already. We already know lateral area. What did we say our base area was? 80. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to have to come up here. 2 times 80 is what, 160? And we add those together and get a surface area of 580. Okay, these are a lot. You have to be able to keep track of different pieces. Perimeter of the base, area of the base. That area is going to change when your shape of your base changes. So there's a lot we have to pay attention to here. Okay, nobody said this part was easy. Yes, I give you formulas, but you have to be able to break it down and get the parts you need. Okay. With the lateral and surface? Okay. So lateral area is just this all together. Okay. Surface area includes these two. So think about lateral area is just going around the sides. Surface area is covering the entire thing. So we're talking about actually 3 different types of areas. We're talking about the area of the base, and then lateral area, and then surface area. So they're 3 different things. Let's try the triangle, see if that maybe helps a little bit. All right, let's move down to 4. Triangular prism. Your paper's over there.
They talking way too much over there.
Okay, what shape is my base in this picture? Triangle. All right. So let's first find the perimeter of the triangle. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight my triangle. Now in my triangle, this part is 15. Does everybody agree with that? Mm-hmm. Do you all know what this side is? What is it? It's 9 because of up here, right? Our bases are congruent. So if this is 9, then so is that. So we're going to label that 9. And can I figure out what this one is? What is it? It's 12 because that top one is 12, right? The top and the bottom are exactly the same. Okay. Add those three sides together for the perimeter. No, just the three sides of the highlighted triangle. What are the three sides we just wrote on the yellow triangle? 9, 12, and 15. So add those together. What did you say, 36? Okay. Everybody good? Good?
So you just add them all together?
For now, yeah. All right, now we need to find the area of the base.
Wait, what number are you on?
Number 4. What shape is the base?
Wait, alright, triangle.
Triangle. Hold on. So we have to do 1/2 the base times the height of just the yellow triangle. I'm not worried about any other numbers. I'm just focused on this little yellow triangle right here. When we talk about base and height, we talk about two sides that are what? Perpendicular. What two numbers are perpendicular to each other in this yellow triangle? 9 and 12. Okay. So we're going to do this. 1/2 times 9 times 12. Again, we're just focused on our triangle at this point. Nothing else besides the triangle. You've got to get the perimeter of the base and the area of the base before you can do anything else. So in your calculators, do 0.5 times 9 times 12 for me.
Also, we have to do decimals. I thought we had to input
You can do the fraction. That's fine. Either way. You can do it as 1/2 times 9 times 12, or you can do 0.5 times 9 times 12. What do we get? Okay. Okay. All right, everybody ready? We found everything we need. Let's go to lateral area. It is the perimeter times the height of the prism, not the height of the base. This is where you get a little tricky. What did we say P was? Okay. The height of the prism is the distance from one base to the next. What is the distance from one base to the next? 16. Kingsley. Shh. Kingsley, stop talking. Myron, Kingsley, stop talking. Do 36 times 16 for me. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. 576? Okay. Then we're going to do our surface area, which is that same lateral area plus 2 times the big B, the base area that we found. Lateral area is 576 plus 2 times, what did we say the area of the base was? What is that, 108? Thank you. Okay. You have to focus on the base first, finding the perimeter and area of it. Then you can go back to the prism. We're going to go down to number 7, 9, 8. Just kidding, I can't count.
What's the difference with a shape like that?
Yes, what is that shape called?
Prism?
It is a prism. It's a cylinder. Okay. So a cylinder is a little actually easier than anything else because you don't really have to worry about the perimeter. It has specific formulas for each. So for lateral area of a cylinder, it is 2 times pi times my radius times my height. Your height of your cylinder is how tall it is, like your Pringles can. Okay, the height of it is how tall it is. Your bases are your circles. So let's plug in everything we have. Lateral area equals 2 times pi. What is the radius? And what is the height?
26.
So in your calculator, multiply the numbers. Leave the pi symbol alone. Multiply the numbers. 2 times 11 times 26. 2 times 11 times 26. What do we get for that? 576. Say that one more time. 576? 572, sorry. Can't hear. Kingsley, stop talking. So my lateral area is going to be 72. And then surface area is my lateral area, which we just found, 572 pi, plus 2 times pi. What did we say our radius was again? 11 squared. What I want you to do first is this. Square 11 and then multiply it by 2. Let's square 11, multiply it by 2.
Which one's the one where you add on sides?
That's we're not doing that right now. We're doing circular base.
No, I'm saying though, like what shape is the one we do that?
That would be any other prism besides a cylinder.
So like one.
What's 11 squared? And 121 times 2 is? Whoops. Yep. We're going to keep the pi on it. And then to simplify this, all you have to do is add the two numbers together, 572 plus 242. You're going to keep that pi symbol. And if I just did my mental math real quick correctly, I got 814. Okay, on your homework that I just gave you, we're not doing all of these. Ready to circle? All right, do 1, 2, 3.
Can a quiz move up your drainage bridges?
Okay, let's do this. Do 1 through 8, just skip 4. Okay, 1 through 8, skip 4. You can skip, cross out 9 through 12 and cross out 4. So 1 through 8 minus 4. You don't have to do those bottom ones.
But you said 1 through 4?
1 through 8, do not do 4. 1 through 8, do not do 4. You can cross out 9, 10, 11, and 12.
And 4.
One through 8, crossing out 4. Please make sure my calculator gets put back on. One through 8, with the exception of 4. Don't do 4. Copy that.